All right, so I got a super awesome deal from Amazon on the Clayface 3-pack. So now let's see if if I got a legit deal or if I am the victim of a repackage. Oh, okay. So far, so good. It's the right box. Let's go ahead here. Okay. No window. All right, that's looking pretty good, in my opinion. Let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. Oh, so far so good. All right. I think that we got ourselves a deal. I got all of this for $23. All right. Can't complain about that. I mean, I'm sure somebody would find a reason to complain, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't complain about this. This is fantastic. All right, here's the box. Here's how it looks over here. Yeah. Pretty cool artwork. Yep, they specifically say it is from Rebirth. And so, for me, I think this is another really cool way that McFarlane shows to us that their team cares. Because this was one of my favorite storylines that were coming out of Rebirth, with these three being on the detective team. And I point the finger at the fact that, and this is from what I understand, I might be completely wrong about what happened, but my understanding was that after the failure of a few DC movies, that Jeff Johns, namely like the BVS and all that, that Jeff Johns lost the creative control that he had over DC at the time. He had orchestrated the fantastic Rebirth initial launch that led to us having the whole Dr. Manhattan, Wally West coming back, all that jazz. That was him. And I thought the storyline, it was interconnected with each other, hinting at a future Watchmen crossover. And but then, because those DC movies failed, he no longer was the creative officer, and that led to open this thing up here. Him not being the creative officer anymore led to Dan Didio regaining control over DC like he had back in the day, back when. Like the New 52 and whatnot. That was Didio. Also, the whole let's treat things like a soap opera. I personally don't like the Dick Grayson generation, so we're going to keep getting the fans upset and using them as soap opera bait fodder. And so getting people to hate watch or hate read, like people were doing with the Scooby-Doo Velma series. I hate it, but I'm going to keep watching it to show how much I hate it. So that was his philosophy. And then, apparently, Didio and whatever, the new powers that be did not like some of the Rebirth stuff. For instance, they didn't like the fact that Clayface was a good guy being reformed on the Batman detective team. And so they went and they started doing the whole storyline with Batwoman. basically assassinating and killing Clayface, and leading to the end of the detective team. I love that storyline. I thought it was great. Very unique take on things. Giving Basil here that redemption that a lot of people who watch the animated series kind of hoped that he would get, because it was such a tragic story that happened to him. I have no idea how this box used to fit in. I'll rewatch the video and see how the heck it should have been like that. The world. Anyway, so so I think it's really cool that the McFarlane team did a deep dive for this 3 to give an excuse to release this Batwoman figure while reusing this mold and giving us a variation of the Rebirth Batman suit. I don't think they've released outside of this. Maybe I'm wrong. I need to go back through my collection and see if this is a repackage or if it's a repaint. I think it's a repaint. But anyway, so I got these figures right here. This Batwoman is fantastic. And it's a really good thing we're getting this too, because the Mattel Batwoman that I had, which to be honest, I think looks very similar to this one, albeit in the 6-inch scale. I think she's a great figure. But I have been using her in my Arrowverse shelf because, face it, we're never going to see the CW, either versions of the CW Batwoman ever made into a toy figure. That's a failed. That's like, I don't know. If we ever get something like figures from the Birds of Prey TV series, then or a Dean Cain. I mean, and even the Dean Cain Superman was famous and popular, and we still haven't seen a toy of him. So I mean, I think it's a long shot. But who knows? Maybe someday we will get toys of those lines, those TV series. But until that day comes, I have the Mattel Batwoman from Rebirth standing in as the CW Batwoman #1. And so this one here will go in with my Bat Family display. Very excited to do that. And in this video, I'm not going to have the usual segment that I have wherein I show you, hey, look at this. Here's it in display, because my display is not set up yet with the Bat Family. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there. So she will go in with the rest of the Bat Family in the little box that we have. And that's just part of the projects. But on the figure itself, really cool cape going off to the side like this. The head sculpt I think is fantastic. The Batwoman, or this iteration of Batwoman, is usually seen with, turn the light on there, with very pale skin. And so they did a good job here of making her skin very pale, very white. And the wig that she wears here, I think it's done really well. I think it looks really cool. I'm a little torn on how I feel. There's some parts that are like orange. So it's not one homogeneous color. I don't know how I feel about that, but it is, I don't know, you really can't tell unless you're really paying attention to it. So otherwise, I think the figure looks great. The sculpt here for the bat symbol, it's like it's put on top. The belt looks fantastic. Everything is double jointed. Even the toes have joints. The elbows have double joints. They got the gauntlet with the little razors. I don't remember what I used to know the term for it, but these things coming out of the gauntlet right here, they're sculpted well. Everything looks great. They are a little flexible, so if there's something you want to do with that. Unfortunately, like with a lot of female figures, the hair is so hard that it does make it difficult to have them look in different directions. It's not impossible, but it does cause some issues, especially if you want to pose them in a certain way that goes against the grain. Over time, that plastic is going to hold that as its memory, and even when you put it in its normal stance later, the hair will probably just stick out like this. So, I mean, nothing new, just a normal issue had from, you know, the normal wear and tear of a female figure. There's some cool design here. At first I thought it was a leg swivel, but it looks like it's just like a thigh boot. That's really weird though. Why would Batwoman have her normal boots and then have a boot under her boot? I think this is supposed to be a thigh swivel, but it's really either it was a thigh swivel and then they glued it, or just this figure is stiff as all get out. Which is the next thing I was going to complain about. This figure right here, the leg is both the knees are kind of janky. And if that, actually, I need to look up that term now. Can I say janky? I don't know. Yeah, it reminds me of that scene from Girls 5 Eva. Sarah Bareilles is like, yeah, and I had some Negroni. Did you just whisper the term Negronis? I don't know the definition of the word. And then like 8 episodes later, they bring the joke back, and she said,
and I was full of Negronis. It's fine. I looked. It's named after Count Camillo Negroni.
30 Rock, Girls 5 Eva. I really like Tina Fey shows. They're really funny. But yeah, so like right here, going back to the point, you see there's a bicep swivel here. So it makes me think there should be a thigh swivel, but these knees they're not really, I mean, they're really loose. They're not really tough and secured in. This one in particular is kind of loose. It's not a deal breaker, but I mean, especially since I paid $20 for all of this, I'm okay with it. It's fine. This Batman here has got a gun hand for his not gun that like these grappling hooks and whatnot, they're okay by DC standards. Maybe this is like clay covered. Maybe that's what they're doing here. Going back to here, got cool little bat head knee pads. The joints are really good. It is double jointed right here. Same double jointed here. Got the gauntlet with the gloves. I really like the sculpt on this gauntlet. Really cool. The head sculpt, I mean, this looks exactly like the Rebirth Batman. This is a really great head sculpt. I know a lot of people complain over time about the head sculpts from McFarlane, but I think this right here, I think it looks great. And I think maybe the previous version that had come out, I think the suit was darker and it had the stubble that Rebirth Batman had at the beginning of the run, but he did get rid of it, I think, later on. Yeah, no extra hands, but really, I don't think it's needed. And I think if you do want to have other hands, the other McFarlane figures that you most likely have collected over time would probably be a good substitute here. Overall, I think it looks fantastic. I really like the body sculpt, everything. Just, I think it's a perfect Rebirth Batman figure. And then finally, this one here is interesting. It's the same as I think it was a build. No, it was just a mega figure. But look at this. It's not showing up. But if you feel it and handle it, the arms here feel really loose, and I'd venture to guess that it's looser than the Clayface that I bought separately a year or two ago. Oh, yeah, look at that. Actually, yeah, look at this. What is going on here? I don't know if this is a bad glue job here, or if, yeah, this looks like a bad glue job. Like, yeah, everything feels really loose here. I don't know if it came from the manufacturer like that. The arm is pretty loose. Both arms are, this one in particular, but this one's loose too. So if you're in the comments section, you have both versions of Clayface. Please let me know if yours felt like that. This right here makes me wonder if something happened in the factory and they went and quickly glued it together, or if it's supposed to look like this and it's supposed to be some kind of cool Clayface feature. I'm unsure. So outside of those two things, the figure's still good. I mean, again, I got all three of these for $20, so I mean, no real complaining. Or maybe I don't know, because this seemed pretty darn sealed. So yeah. I mean, I cut the straps, so I think this is a manufacturer issue, nothing else. The evidence leads to this not being a Reebox. Yeah, so right here, this is pretty stiff, unlike the rest of his shoulders. So right here, got these hands, and the mouth is just as good as it was with the other figure. Got some cool skull designs and whatnot. Kind of, and some arms here, kind of insinuating that he's got some multiple personality disorder. Probably something in the water in Gotham giving people split personality issues. But overall, I mean, it stands just fine on its own. If you're not wanting to play with it, and I rarely ever play with the toys, only like, and it's been a couple of years since I've done this, but I used to have regular play sessions with my kids. We'd pull the toys off of the shelves, and because I think toys are meant to be played with, then we'd do these, they'd get their Barbie toys and everything, and we'd be playing, and it was just a grand old time. Just I haven't had time past couple of years since we moved to our new house. So I don't know if there's something wrong with this figure or if this is all the articulation it gets. My verdict, based on this box that I got, is I got this for $23. For $23, this is a steal, must-have, especially if you want to have a McFarlane Batwoman figure. Other than that, if you paid full price for it, I hope you're happy with it. I wouldn't have paid full price for this. $70 for... I mean, still $70 for 3 figures is pretty good, but if all of them had this quality, I would be pretty upset. And also the fact that if you are an avid collector, you probably already had at least a version of this guy, and you already had this guy. So for a lot of people, they were paying $70 to get her. I might figure out a kit bash or something to do with this guy. Or a mod or something, because I don't have a need for this version of more than one of this version of Clayface in my arsenal. Or hey, you know what? I just looked over here at the box. You got this here, and you got that. Maybe I can go and see if I can experiment with Marvel Legends Sandman, and maybe try to cut off this hand and put in a mace or something left over from that Sandman from Marvel Legends, any of the Sandman releases. Yeah, but that's all I have right here for today. Thank you all so much for being part of the community, of this growing community. Can't wait for us to hit 100 subs so that we can do the second giveaway. I appreciate all of you guys. I hope you're having a great time, and I'll see you in the next video.